Well, thank you, friends. Shabbat Shalom and greetings to you all. It was Thanksgiving, time for peace, coming together, a time for family, for exploration, for celebration of fall and oncoming winter, for officially giving thanks. Although why we need a day to officially give thanks is beyond me. It should really be just a natural reaction to the beauty and bounty of the world and life and love. Now, the current attitude seems to be a bit of a return to the understanding that Thanksgiving's not a holiday about genocide and imperialism, nor about racial violence and slavery. The U.S. Founding Fathers were a very devout and very biblically oriented group, and they actually were seeking to emulate the idea and concept of Sukkot as a Thanksgiving. We've turned it into the Pilgrims landing at Plymouth Rock, and how the natives greeted them and helped them survive the New World. It wasn't until Abraham Lincoln was president that the day was set aside as an official holiday. Couldn't we acknowledge a little niceness now and then as a prelude to miracles? That alone would be a miracle. Now, spend some time over the course of the next week with family and friends that you know, and it is the same everywhere. It's the same in all societies and all families, because no matter what anyone says, it really is a small world after all. Don't you think? It's a world of laughter and a world of tears. It's a world of hopes and a world of fears. There's so much that we share that it's time we're aware it's a small world after all. 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 It's a small world. There is just one moon and one golden sun, and a smile means friendship to everyone. Though the mountains divide and the oceans are wide, it's a small world after all. And you know what? It is a small world. Now, I occasionally wonder, why do people have such difficulty saying thank you and setting a time to acknowledge each other? I think, the only two short phrases that are harder for people are I'm sorry or I love you. Except in throwaway situations when they don't really mean it a lot of the time. Sometimes the little things can certainly mean the most. And the celebration of Thanksgiving is just the beginning. Because now we're less than a month from the Twin Festivals of Light. And isn't it great when they're at the same time? Like there's some years where they're like 3 weeks apart. This year Christmas Day and Hanukkah are on the 25th together. I always like it when they're together. Now it's a time for miracles. And the world needs miracles right now. And I think the world is on the verge of turning around and welcoming miracles again. We've come through years of crises. We've survived. That alone's a miracle. As are things like a new home, a vacation, a deepening love, a chance encounter. All of those are miracles. I'd like you all to start now and every day. See if you can't think of one miracle that's occurred in your life. By the time Hanukkah is here, you will be shocked at how many you've actually had. And some are ones you may never have recognized. Wonder of wonders. Miracle of miracles. I was afraid that God would frown like he did so long ago at Jericho. God just made a wall fall down. Now, you know what, friends? We put up walls around our lives, our hearts, our souls, and God does make them fall down. Like when we come together and gather as a group to honor and pray and observe as a community, celebrating common belief and faith. He makes the walls fall down, a collective consciousness of seekers showing faith. And it's any and all faith, love any and all love, because we can recognize each other has their own way. It is a true chavura, a fellowship, as we express our nature of kindness, compassion, thoughts, feelings, hopes, dreams, and wishes that unites us all in this community house of Spirit Beth Ruach. Sharing and bringing light, keeping fear at bay, and even though together we're individual in our approach, each connecting in his or her or their own way. So once again, go ahead and invite everybody, physically, digitally, psychically, emotionally, spiritually, any way at all, to gather and share. From Psalm 133, the Hine Matov, come together. Hine Matov, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. How good, how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters together. Community. Together. Because we support each other in this community. So let's all spread love, goodwill, fellowship to the world. Remember, friends, this is you setting aside a little bit of sacred time in your own sacred space to honor and converse with whoever, whatever you happen to believe in, because we all believe in something. It's part of your kavanah, your intention that you put out to the universe. It's your goodwill and your intention that you can control the roots of what takes place with you. It's your intention that sets in motion the things that occur in your lives. So let's take some time now. Let's use that intention. Let's send some goodwill, some light, some healing, some renewal out to whoever that needs it. Healing and renewal is for everybody. Float through space, finding those who need. So send it out for those you know and for the souls and spirits of everyone you love. So think of whoever that needs healing and renewal and love, or just plain goodwill. Focus on them. Call their names. It is not just for people. It's for our pets. It's for the earth. It is the healing of the world. The tikkun olam. It's part of our spiritual genetic makeup. And a part of the healing of the world is when we send thoughts and energy for health and renewal and goodwill for everybody. They don't have to be sick, although this is, generally the prayer for the sick. It's for those in our hearts and our minds. Let's all send energy out for the people in need everywhere. Special thoughts and prayers always for those in need of assistance, because we pray for those who need prayer. We don't have to know them. We want health, recovery, good life for everybody around us. For the prisoners in the pits of despair still sitting in Hamas-controlled Gaza. Hostages, innocent people. And for those closer to us. For Brenda and Callie. For William and Mary. For Shanda. For Anna and Amin and AJ. For Gabby. For Jessica and Trevor. For Dr. Bonnie and the Builder. For Luke and Carson. For Kaylee. Sabrina and Dave. For Maria. For Paul. For PJ. For Lucy and Marlu. For Ainur and Gloria. For Johnny and Fern and Kathleen and Alana. For Charlie. For Maria and John. For Doria. For Connie. For Ronnie. For Mayim and Tally. For Danny and Nina. For all those suffering and in need. Let's not forget to include the familiars of our lives. All of our sacred animal friends everywhere. For everyone you know in need. For the whole world. For dear Devorah. Friends, it is the kindness, the healing wishes, goodwill, and love you all send out. Circles the world, finding those in need. So thank you, each of you, for all you do, for all you care, because the world is a world of spirit. Its spirit never dies. Me, Shabarach, Avotenu, Makor HaBracha, Limotenu. May the souls of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage. Make our lives a blessing. The renewal of body. The renewal of spirit. Let us say, Amen. Misha Baruch, let us all have our spirits renewed, because this is the great prayer for healing, in which we call upon God to heal as He has healed before. Misha Baruch, may He who bless, because all healing is a blessing. Let's all send and receive healing and renewal energy in our efforts to love, to share, to care, to grow. Now, I spoke last week about the naming convention of Parshas. And this one is probably one of the worst named of all. And yes, I've said that before, but this one really is one of the worst. Now, this week we read toldot, generations. Now, the word toldot means records as in generational records. And this isn't the first that we've seen. When you get lists of children and grandchildren, those are generational records, toldot. We ended last week with them in hearing about Abraham and Keturah's children and Ishmael's children. Those were the records. And there wasn't anything about any of them. It was just the listing to get us to the next group of people. But it's not about generations. This parsha is about the oldest conflict of all. Since Cain and Abel, the second and third humans, we have been plagued by sibling rivalry. Those who should love, hate. Those who should share, hoard. Those who should build up, tear down. And those who should support, work to weaken. Now, many in our family we come back with that we still have karma to deal with. And so our families have been in our lives before. But not necessarily in the same order or relationships. We grew up together from the cradle to the grave. We died and were reborn and left mysteriously saved. Oh sister, when I come to knock on your door, don't turn away, you'll create sorrow. Now is an ocean, but it ends at the shore. You may not see tomorrow. Now this is about a fight for parents' love. Sibling rivalry, the great sibling rivalry, is generational. Male and female, the damage of family divisiveness, how it can often lead to manipulation, deception, fear, projection. This is about every family you've ever known, maybe even parts of yours. It is all this, but there's one underlying theme. The great hydra with its many heads, karma. And this reading is about two children who represent the ultimate in sibling rivalry and the historic and generational destructive effects of parents on their children. This week we learn about the birth of the twins Esau and Jacob. We got to look at what it would have been like to have been in Delphi hundreds of years later at a great oracle. We read about the famous sale of the birthright, the deception of Isaac, the stolen blessing, and we see the steps that one son takes to earn the love of his parents. This is one of the most powerful stories in the Bible. It ripples through time and space, going back to Cain and Abel and forward through the patriarch years to the sons of kings and prophets, touching on some of the great rivalries still echoing today. And it captures the fabric of family relations, parent against parent, sibling against sibling, husband against wife. It is an origin story of rivalry. And the only way it can end, someone has to rise above it, and someone will. This is the story of rights, of deceptions, of the initiation of karma, of jealousy, of parental love and choice, of want and need, of fear, of the age-old scream, of sibling antipathy. My brother, if you could cast a little light on someone, it's not too soon. You took me halfway around the world, I'm running out of time and reasons. My true friend, if you could tell me what it is that keeps you from coming down. Well, you left me way up in the clouds. The higher you fly, the less I see. Genesis 25:19. These are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son, And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah, daughter of Bethuel, the Aramean from Paddan Aram, sister of Laban, the Aramean, to him as a wife. And Isaac prayed to the Lord for his wife, because she was infertile. And the Lord was prevailed upon him, and his wife Rebekah became pregnant. Now this is after being married for 20 years. And the children struggled inside her and she said, if this is like this, why do I exist? And she went to inquire of the Lord. And God said to her, 2 nations are in your womb, and 2 people will be dispersed from your insides. And 1 people will be mightier than the other, and the older the younger will serve. Now the decision of who's the number 1 son, that's still God's. Now, how many of you had that battle within your own family, regardless of birth order? I know many who fought that war and suffered the ego-shattering and search for love and acceptance that can accompany it. The time-old understanding of this reading is based on a misunderstanding of the subtle, ambiguous biblical wording, because it's not captured properly in translation. The text does not, in fact, say the elder son will serve the younger son. Because in biblical Hebrew, the subject may be either preceding or following the verb, and the object likewise may either precede or follow the verb. So what that means is sometimes it's impossible to tell which word in a biblical verse is the subject and which is the object, especially if the verse is in poetry. That is the case in this oracle to Rebekah, which is very ancient poetry, because it can mean the elder will serve the younger, but it equally can mean the elder, the younger will serve. 2 completely different meanings. Now, like the Delphic oracles in Greece, this prediction contains opposites. And therefore the person who receives it, Rebekah, can hear whatever she wants consciously or subconsciously to hear. It can be understood to mean that Jacob will serve Esau, or that Esau will serve Jacob. It's one or the other. Genesis 25:24. And her days to give birth were completed, and here were twins in her womb. The first came out already like a hairy robe. They called his name Esau. After that, his brother came out. His hand was holding Esau's heel, and he called his name Jacob. And Isaac was 60 years old at their birth. The boys grew up, and Esau was a man who knew hunting, a man of the field. Jacob was a simple man, living in tents. That's all we're told, and that's all we know of their youth. But does anybody know that to be true? No. Numerous attempts have been made to denigrate Esau in Midrash, and even in current biblical interpretation. It's not justified according to the text. The motive, however, is understandable. Jacob's behavior in the matters of the birthright and the blessing is an embarrassment. How can anyone not be surprised and even disgusted at what this patriarch does to his brother and his father, unless you can come up with a great reason to justify it? And that's exactly what we have done. We have decided Esau was horrid, and that Jacob was a scholar and lover of Torah, even though Torah didn't exist. Now, what's interesting is the Torah itself neither denigrates Esau nor justifies Jacob. Right? It doesn't defend anybody or accuse anybody. One of the great qualities of the Tanakh is that none of its heroes is perfect. You as the reader or the student or the ponderer can think and determine for yourselves. Now, what is interesting, and only noticeable if you think about it, Jacob actually is going to suffer a corresponding recompense for every deception he commits. If you make a list, it's quite fascinating, as do Laban, Rachel, Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, and Joseph's other brothers. All of them. And that tells you something. Instant karma's gonna get you. Gonna look you right in the face. Better get yourself together, darling. Join the human race. How in the world you gonna see? Laughing at fools like me. Who on earth do you think you are? A superstar? Well, right you are. The lesson is not only people are not perfect, but that acts of deception can fester in a family, and they all have consequences. Those who try to excuse Jacob and turn Esau into a villain are missing essential lessons of the Torah, which you're going to see as you continue to read along. This story is about the seeds of deception and the fruit that it produces. Rebekah masterminds the deception of Isaac. Jacob's a willing participant. His hesitancy, his fear of participation, is not because it's morally wrong and bankrupt. It is his fear of being caught and then cursed instead of blessed. He will willingly lie to his father and steal from his brother and sacrifice anyone in his way. And he will be haunted for the rest of his life. And he will pass that fear on genetically to his children. We see a starving Esau return from futile hunting, and he needs sustenance. His brother has made a stew. Will he share? No. Instead, Jacob gets Esau to give up his birthright for the life-saving meal. Okay, so you say, what's a birthright? You can't hold it. Do we care? We may not. But its meaning is more than symbolic. It is greatly spiritual and cultural. And it was all the rights that belonged to the firstborn son. But this is only the beginning of Jacob's deception. Where does he learn it? From the parent who loved him, his mother, who schemed and deceived and taught him those skills. It would be like teaching your children the art of manipulation instead of cooperation. Genesis 27:1. It was when Isaac was old. His eyes were too dim for seeing, and he called Esau, his older son, and said to him, "My son." He said to him, "I'm here." And he said, "Here, I've become old. I don't know the day of my death. Take up your implements, your quiver, your bow. Go out to the field and hunt me some game and make me the kind of delicacies that I love. Bring them to me. Let me eat, so my soul will bless you before I die." He's obviously dying. And Rebekah was listening to Isaac and heard everything that Isaac was speaking to Esau, his son, and Esau went to the field to hunt game to bring. "And now, my son, listen to my voice, to what I'm commanding you." She says to Jacob, "Go to the flock. Take 2 good goat kids for me from there, and I'll make them the kind of delicacies that your father loves. And you'll bring them to your father, and he'll eat, so he'll bless you before his death." Well, Jacob's all concerned. Esau's hairy, Jacob's smooth. And if his father catches him being deceptive, like I say, his fear is he's going to get cursed, not blessed. Where are the morals and ethics of this patriarch? But he does what his mother says. By now Isaac's blind, he's dying. Genesis 27:21, and Isaac said to Jacob, "Come over and I'll feel you, my son. Is this you, my son Esau, or not?" And Jacob came over to Isaac, his father, and he felt him, and he said, "The voice is the voice of Jacob, but the hands are the hands of Esau." And he did not recognize him, because his hands were hairy like the hands of Esau, his brother, and he blessed him. And he said, "Is this you, my son Esau?" And he said, "I am." And he said, "Bring it over to me. Let me eat some of my son's game, so my soul will bless you." He brought it over to him, and he ate, and he brought him wine and drank. And Isaac, his father, said to him, "Come over and kiss me, my son." And he came over and kissed him. He smelled the aroma of his clothes. He blessed him, and he said, "See, my son's aroma is like the aroma of a field that the Lord has blessed." Okay, he's unable to see, and he's confused by the voice. So the blind Isaac feels and smells Jacob, and he's convinced it's Esau. That's why Rebekah covered him with animal skins and had him wear Esau's clothes. Feel and scent to fool the old man. Jacob deceived his father by the same things that will deceive him when his son Joseph is sold. The intention and energy that went into this deception is enormous. And it's going to bring karmic recompense for generations. And when he returns, Esau, brings his father the food, and Isaac tells him he cannot bless him. He's given the blessing away. Esau breaks down and weeps through no fault of his own. He's been robbed of his rights, and they cannot be returned. Yes, my friends, the world is sacred, and so is everything in it. Express your gratitude, light a candle, make a wish. Celebrate your life and the lives of those you love. Share your feelings with them. Live free, be free, honor your freedom, be well, be happy, be blessed. Share and honor the light. And all who live in the light and continue to shine, continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone, and end to terror and hatred. Remember, friends, we're a community. We learn together. We celebrate with each other. We love each other because we share this ride together, men and women equally. Let's send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, goodwill, and healing to all who need it. Please do learn to forgive, learn to love. Open your hearts, honor the relationships of your life. Tell those you love that you love them. Examine your intentions and use them to imprint your will on the universe. We set in motion all that happens in our lives. It's our intention, our cabin, our cause, our effect. It's all linked. You have time to forgive and to be forgiven. You have the knowledge of what's good and bad, so acknowledge what you have done wrong to yourself, to God, to any person you've wronged, and ask forgiveness. But always do so with sincerity, with accountability, with vulnerability. Forgive those who've hurt you. You learn to be forgiving and compassionate, because the secret of forgiveness, compassion, and peace is in acceptance. Can you accept yourself, other people in the world just as they are? Can you accept life as it is without trying to control it? If you do, you can experience the peace that acceptance brings. So keep on dreaming. Keep on being, keep sharing, keep shining, keep teaching, keep spreading joy and goodwill. Do not follow fear, follow love, because it's always in front of you. Work to be present in the body. Expand your heart, quiet your mind, because the deepest source of real power lies in consciousness, in your ability to be mindful, aware, and present in all of life's circumstances. Love with the heart. We're all part of a greater whole. Embrace love, not fear. Forgiveness, not anger. Be there for someone, because someone is always there for you, whether you know it or not. Continue to explore faith and belief, and never accept shame as a natural state. Whatever you feel others have felt, whatever you've experienced, others have too. Because we share together, we learn together, and we help each other. As we're each of us trying to find love and acceptance and support. We all have or could have that special someone in our lives, so find them. Tell them what they mean. Because you're never alone on your journey. Keep forgiving those you need to forgive. Keep asking forgiveness from those you need to ask forgiveness of. Listen to the voice of God as God talks to you. Remember your connection to God and all He has created, body and soul. It's part of you, it's part of me. It's a part of all of us forever. Listen to the voice. He's talking to you now. And pay attention to the questions that Isaac asks, Jacob and Esau during this scene. And the most telling one of all is when he says to Esau, "Who are you, my son?" What a telling question. Who are you? This story of brotherly love is actually a tale as old as time, and only you can stop its replay. Tale as old as time. Tune as old as song. Bittersweet and strange. Finding you can change. Learning you were wrong. Certain as the sun. Rising in the east. Tale as old as time. Song as old as rhyme. Beauty and the Beast. Well, thank you for joining me. Have a great week. Give thanks. Be the bigger one. And I will see you all soon. Shabbat Shalom and blessings to you all. Take care.